Pad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Shatarashata Shishimat His Divine Grace Sri Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Shatarashata Shishimat Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namo Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunkiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Yamuna Maya Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Nasanatal Book Production Distribution Ki Jai Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai Gaura Premananda Glories to the Assembled Devotees Glories to the Assembled Devotees Glories to the Assembled Devotees Glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Glories to Shri Prabhupada.
Ne vem, a boš ti, a bi raš angliško?
Lepo si imel na angliščini, Lila Suki pa Karolini.
Ja, lahko.
Sem tukaj.
Kaj je tako lažje si mu govoriti? Slovenča brava v angliščini.
V angliško prevajam.
Ok, dobro.
Ana, kaj če raš angliško govoriči? Pa še online, te bodo zbike vsega sveta poslušati.
Ne vem, lahko to je angliško.
Veš, če je. A ja, razen pa Marko celi pa ne.
Lahko tudi angliško, ja, mislim, umar sem.
Ni unik, slušalki.
Čakaj, ja, ni bilo. A ja, kje so pa to? A veš, imamo fila, anti-fila, kje fila?
Ne vem. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Janavalabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Kacharya Sutara Shata Shishima His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai Vsa slava sem zbrani Bhakta Hare Krišna Vsa slava Shri Guru in Shri Gurangi Vsa slava Srila Prabhupadi Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahaguna Lalita Shri Vishakansvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. Toliko bo po angliško lekcija. Pa pravata slovenščino. Okay, so class will be in English and translation to Slovenian language, if anyone needs it. So we are reading from srimad-bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 5, text number 11. Gopya sumrishta manikundala nishkakantyash Chintrambara patishika chutamalya varsha Nandalayam savalaya vrajatir virejur Vyalola kundala payodara hara shobha Gopya sumrishta manikundala nishkakantyash Chintrambara patishika chutamalya varsha Nandalayam savalaya vrajatir virejur Vyalola kundala payodara hara shobha Gopya sumrishta manikundala nishkakantyash Vyalola kundala payodara hara shobha Gopya sumrishta manikundala nishkakantyash Chintrambara patishika chutamalya varsha Nandalayam savalaya vrajatir virejur. Vyalola kundala payadara hara shobha. Matajis. Gopyasum rishta manikundala nishkakantyash. Pati shika chutamaya varsha. Nandalayam savalaya vrajatir virejur. Vyalola kundala payodara hara shobha. Gopyasum rishta manikundala nishkakantyash. Chintram varapati shika chutamalya varsha. Nandalayam savalaya vrajatir virejur. Vyalola kundala payodara hara shobha. Word by word translation. Gopya, the gopis. Sumrishta, very dazzling. Mani, made of jewels. Kundala, wearing earrings. Nishkakantya, and having little keys and lockets hanging from their necks. Chitra ambara, dressed with varieties of colored embroidery. Pati, on their way to Yashoda Mai's house. Shikachyuta, fell from their hair. Malyavarsha, a shower of flower garlands. Nandalayam, to the house of Maharaj Nanda. Savalaya, with bangles on their hands. Vrajati, while going in that costume. Vireju, they looked very, very beautiful. Vyalola, moving. Kundala, with earrings. Payodara, with breasts. Hara, with flower garlands. Shobha, who appeared so beautiful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the ears of the gopis were brilliantly polished jeweled earrings, and from their necks hung metal lockets. Their hands were decorated with bangles, their dresses were of varied colors, and from their hair flowers fell onto the street like showers. Thus, while going to the house of Maharaj Nanda, the gopis, their earrings, breasts, and garlands moving, were brilliantly beautiful. Purport. The description of the gopis who were going to the house of Maharaj Nanda to welcome Krishna is especially significant. The gopis were not ordinary women, but expansions of Krishna's pleasure potency, as described in the Brahma Samhita. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavita bistabirya eva nijarupataya kalabi goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhutto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha Laksha vriteshu surabir abhipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shatasambhrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamam bhajami. Brahma Samhita 5:37 and 29. Krishna is always worshipped by the gopis wherever he goes. Therefore, Krishna is so vividly described in srimad-bhagavatam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also described Krishna in this way. Ramya kachit upasana vraja vadu vargena yakalpita. All these gopis are going to offer Krishna their presentations because the gopis are eternal associates of the Lord. Now the gopis were more jubilant because of the news of Krishna's appearance in Vrindavan. Again the translation. In the ears of the gopis were brilliantly polished jeweled earrings, and from their necks hung metal lockets. Their hands were decorated with bangles, their dresses were of varied colors, and from their hair flowers fell onto the street like showers. Thus, while going to the house of Maharaj Nanda, the gopis, their earrings, breasts, and garlands moving, were brilliantly beautiful. Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Prashta Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for coming, taking your time. I ask for your blessings so that I can speak something inspirational for me and for you. So now here is the description of the gopis who were coming to the place where this ceremony was taking place, where Krishna was born. And here it's written that they were very nicely dressed, many ornaments and so on. And we probably all know the pastimes of the gopis with Krishna. They're quite confidential. They seem like they're the pastimes of this world, but they're actually not. And this is actually the first point that Srila Prabhupada mentions this in this purport, that the gopis were not ordinary women, but expansions of Krishna's pleasure potency. Because when we read these pastimes about the gopis and Krishna, if someone new reads, or someone who doesn't have enough spiritual background, spiritual knowledge, he may think that this is like ordinary dealings, boys and girls and so on. But when we are reading this, we should always keep in mind that the gopis, they're not ordinary women, that they're expansions of Krishna's pleasure potency, and also that Krishna is not an ordinary person, that he's not just like a cowherd boy, that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by this, if we understand this, we can read these pastimes with the proper consciousness. It's very interesting that this is the most intimate part of our philosophy, like Rasa Lila and so on. And that Srila Prabhupada, because he was thinking that he will soon leave his body in the 1970s, he wrote the Krishna book. And one may think why didn't he write other books? This is the most confidential part and so on. But he wrote it because he wanted to give the Krishna's pastimes to others, and he also added his purpose so that we can understand them properly in a proper way. And we can actually read these pastimes. It's not prohibited, but we should read them with the proper consciousness. And also, I think Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in one poem, I don't know the name of it, but he wrote that when we are on the level of Vaidhi Bhakti, so this is sadhana Bhakti, when we don't have this attachment for Krishna, this pure love for Krishna, when we still have some material contaminations and so on, that on the path of this Vaidhi Bhakti, we should look to these pastimes of the gopis and this Madhurya Rasa with awe and reverence. That we say, okay, I'm not on this level, but I I understand that this is a very high level, and I don't go so deeply in it. I respect it, but I leave it there, you know, because I'm not there. I'm on the level of ID Bhakti. I'm working on my anarthas and so on. And this is like the proper attitude when reading these pastimes and so on, because maybe some of you don't know, or most of you probably know, that there are a certain group of so-called Vaishnavas who are imitating these pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the gopis. That they say that if you have many girlfriends, then you can realize the rasa, you can realize what kind of emotions they're experiencing and so on, you know. But the problem is that they still have these material contaminations. They're jumping over their qualification. They're jumping over to a level that they're not, you know. It's like taking a medicine that our body cannot process. Because it is said also in the Shastra that these pastimes, these intimate pastimes, are meant also to cure our material lust. When we read these pastimes, that they should purify our lust and material contamination, which is, in one sense, it is true. But if you're not prepared to take this medicine, if you're not qualified to take it, then we will not get the effect of the medicine. We won't get cured of it like this. And also, recently read, I think it was by Bhakti-yoga Swami, he said that there are many controversies about whether to bathe in Radha Kund or not. And then he said that there are like many instructions about this, whether to bathe or not, you get like immense benefit and so on. But the real question is, are we qualified to, even if you bathe in it, are we qualified to get the mercy of it, you know? So this is also one aspect. If you're qualified to get this higher mercy, this this benefit from reading these pastimes. So for us, when reading these pastimes, it's most relevant, you know, to like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, to look with it with respect, with reverence, and so on. Če grem prehiter, me kar ustapa. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. And also one thing that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, he was very like emphasizing this respect towards these higher pastimes and so on. And he also said that we don't want to live on Radha Kund, but we can be at Gordon, because Gordon is a bit lower than Radha Kund, and in this way we can always respect Radha Kund, Radharani, and these pastimes that are going on. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was very like, you know, clear on this point, that we should always know what our position is and what is the position of these pastimes and the devotees participating in it. But also, this is one part that we should take into account when reading this, but we can also like take inspiration from the gopis. Of course, they're like on a higher level, we cannot imitate them, but we can be inspired by their example, that they're so, you know, in this verse it is described that they dress very nicely for Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure, you know. And everything that they're doing, you know, they're doing for Krishna's pleasure. And this can be also our inspiration, that everything that we do, that we always think how to please Krishna. So in this way, the gopis can be like relevant for us, you know, that we can, in our every action, with every thought that we think how to satisfy Krishna, that we develop this intense love for Krishna, this thinking how to satisfy Krishna, how to give my best to satisfy him, and so on. Because it is also here in the purport is Srila Prabhupada cites this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that actually the worship of the gopis is the highest, because they're sacrificing everything to love Krishna, to satisfy him. Like they were like living in the middle of the night, their husbands, their families, you know, which is considered very, very sinful to do. But they did it out of love for Krishna. They wanted to see him, they wanted to satisfy him. And we are also aspiring for this level, that we fully surrender to Krishna, that we achieve this pure devotional service. This is what we want. This is our goal, to serve purely Krishna without any motive, only in order to please Him. So this is actually our goal, and we can take example from the gopis. And this is also the essence of Krishna consciousness, that we do everything for the pleasure of Krishna, and that we ultimately develop love for Him. Like it's also this verse in the Bhagavatam, that if we do all our duties, our dharma, and if we don't develop our love for Krishna, then it's all useless. And if we don't do our dharma, but we nevertheless develop our love for Krishna, then our endeavors are successful. So it doesn't matter so much what we do and so on in terms of achieving external results. I mean, of course, this is important, but we should also focus whether we are developing this love for Krishna, this service attitude, that we want to be a servant, that we want to be in a position of servant, not an enjoyer, that we can see others as an object of service, not of enjoyment. And Krishna actually only wants this from us, this service attitude, this our desire to love Him and to serve Him, because all these activities that we have in devotional service, such as deity worship, sankirtan, chanting and so on, is meant that we develop like a relationship with Him, that we serve Him. Krishna, when He appears like Archa Vigraha in the deity form, He doesn't need our service. He doesn't need that we offer boga to Him, that we offer Him food and so on, because He's hungry or something. But He wants, He is giving us an opportunity to connect with Him, that we love Him, that we offer Him the food with love and devotion, that we do some service for Him. So it's meant that we get this opportunity to develop love for Him. And He also says this in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yame Bhakta Prachati Tadaham Bhakti Upahritam Ashnam Paryat Tatmana, that if one offers me like a leaf, water, fruit with devotion and love, I will accept it. So Krishna is like giving an opportunity to everyone to love Him, to develop a relationship with Him. Even Srila Prabhupada mentions in that purport that even a beggar, even a homeless man, he can give something to Krishna. Everyone can give some water, some leaf, and he can offer it with love, and in this way Krishna will accept it. So Krishna in that verse, he's showing his like liberal nature, He doesn't want these material things, but he wants the love, of an individual, and he's like open to everyone. He's not, he's giving an opportunity to all living entities to love Him, to offer Him this love. And also in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, when he's explaining different processes of how to attain Him. And the first step, he says that the best is that you always think of me with love and devotion, and that you're like with your mind absorbed in me. And then in the next verse, he says that, okay, if you cannot do this, then just follow the regulative principles of bhakti-yoga and develop a desire to attain me. So Krishna, and in the purport also Srila Prabhupada says that many of us, we are not on this level of spontaneous attachment to Krishna, but we are on the level of Vaidhi Bhakti, to follow the rules and regulations. And Srila Prabhupada says that certainly if we follow properly the process which is given to us by the acharyas, by our spiritual master, like namely chanting the Maha Mantra, worshipping the deities, associating with devotees and so on, if we do this properly, then it will yield the proper result. And if we don't do it properly, then we will get some result, but not the proper result, the result that we desire. It's like, we all have the same medicine, right? We're all chanting Hare Krishna, we can all dance in front of Panchatattva, we can all take prasadam and so on. We all have like an equal opportunity. but it depends how we take advantage of this opportunity, you know. With what kind of consciousness do we chant Maha Mantra? With what kind of consciousness are we dancing in front of the deities? Are we reading Srila Prabhupada's book every day, studying it and so on? So everything is there. We just have to take advantage of it, take the mercy and so on. And by this, by following this process, we can awaken this dormant love of God that we have it in ourselves. Because sometimes we think we don't have this love for Krishna. Actually, we have Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says that it is dormant in everyone's heart, but it's covered by material contamination. We have love for others, for the opposite sex, for our country, for material things and so on. But by following this process, we can purify ourselves. And Krishna will purify us according to our efforts. And then we can develop this love for Krishna and taste it, this love for Krishna. One important thing is that also, as Krishna is enjoying this love of us that we're offering to him, this service attitude, that we should also enjoy it. But the difference is that we don't enjoy it in the mood of an enjoyer, that we think, okay, I'm the enjoyer, I'm gonna enjoy prasadam, I'm gonna dance in front of the deities, you know, for my enjoyment. But we do it for Krishna's pleasure, we do it in a mood of a servant, and then the byproduct is that we feel this bliss of being a servant, of service. Because we're like Vedanta Sutra says that we're ananda mayobhyasa, that we're pleasure-seeking beings, and we are always seeking for happiness. We cannot stop this. So whether we seek it in material happiness or like in Krishna consciousness. So it's very important for us that we also taste this nectar of bhakti, this nectar of being a servant, of service to Krishna, that we are like in the servant mood. Because otherwise, if we don't taste it, then we will like gravitate towards material enjoyment, you know. And sometimes we are like in this, in the middle path, you know. We are like trying to renounce material pleasure, you know. We're renouncing it, but at the same time, we are not experiencing this spiritual happiness, this nectar of Krishna consciousness. And it's like very hard, you know. They're just like renouncing, telling your mind you should not enjoy this, not enjoy this. But you don't give it like, you don't give it the, how to say, you don't give it the other happiness. You don't enjoy materially, but you also don't enjoy spiritually. Then you're like, what to do now, you know, I'm agitated and so on, you know, I have these material desires, but I cannot fulfill them. And I'm also not feeling happy chanting, you know, and doing the process. So what should I do now? You know, what should I do now? So if you're, many times I experienced this, and many times probably you have also experienced this. So we should always, you know, situate then ourselves in a way that we will experience this nectar of Krishna consciousness, because there is so, like Shikshashtaka says, you know, Ananda Buddhi Vardhanam. This is like an ocean of bliss, an ocean of bliss. And Krishna is an ocean of bliss, and we are like chanting, and we are like, you know, bored, and we get sleepy and so on. So probably there's nothing wrong with Krishna. There is something wrong with us. You know, we don't have the proper attitude. So it's so important that we seek this nectar. Kadamba Kanana Swami said in one class that we should become nectar hunters. We should become nectar hunters. We cannot just wait for the nectar to come, you know, but we have to seek it, you know. And as I said, we have everything here. We have the Maha Mantra, we have the deities, we have kirtan, we're doing Harinam, we're doing book distribution, and we can enjoy these activities in a servant's attitude, you know. We should actually, because this will drive us forward in our Krishna consciousness, because it's much easier to advancing Krishna consciousness, if you're attracted by Krishna, if you're attracted by devotional service, if you're like spontaneously, okay, I want to do this, I want to chant Maha Mantra, I want to go on book distribution, I want to give Krishna consciousness to others, I want to serve. It's much better than just like telling, okay, I have to chant, I don't like it, but I have to chant, I have to wake up in the morning and so on, you know. This is like only on the level, you know, I should do, I don't feel like it, but I should do, but I really don't feel like it, I would rather do something else. But we should come to this level that we experience the nectar. Okay, it's really nice, you know, to chant the Maha Mantra. It's really nice to have kirtan, really nice to go on book distribution and talk about Krishna to others, you know, that we get attracted by this. And then it will be much easier, you know, to advance. It will be much easier to do these activities more often, in a more attentive way, to raise the quality of our service and so on. So it's very important. And also it's like, it's not, one may think, we may be thinking sometimes that, yeah, maybe it's selfish, you know, that I want to enjoy, I want some happiness for myself. Yes, it is selfish if you want to enjoy separately from Krishna, if you want to be happy without Krishna. But it's not selfish if you like desire, okay, I want to be happy in Krishna consciousness, I want to experience the nectar, so that therefore I will be able to move closer to Krishna, so that I will sacrifice more, that I will do my service better, you know. Because then this is good, then we are moving towards Krishna. We are enjoying with Krishna, not separately from him. So it's very, like, really important that we experience this nectar, this happiness in Krishna consciousness in a proper way. And then also the result is, as Bhagavatam says, that the natural byproduct of advancement is that we will develop detachment. Because if we get like something better, then we will naturally renounce a lower thing. And also Krishna recommends this, that we develop this higher taste, paramdrishta nivartate, because we try to regulate our senses, control our senses and the mind, which is like very hard. They're like, the senses are described like the serpents. They're always, you know, seeking some sense objects to enjoy them and so on. But if we develop this higher taste, this happiness in Krishna consciousness, it's much easier, you know, because then we think, oh, what is this, you know, this material happiness, it's nothing, you know. You probably all have this experience, because you're battling with something really hard for so much time, you know, some like material attraction that you have, you know, and it's like really hard, and then you're really attracted, and then you go like, then you have some like really good japa, you chant some really good rounds, you go on Harinam, it's really ecstatic, and then you're like, you know, what is this, you know? I mean, what is this attraction? How was I so stupid to be attracted by it, you know? And also, like, when I started to practice, I was like thinking, yeah, this Krishna consciousness is so nice, you know, everything's so nice, the prasadam, the devotees association, the books, it's really nice, but, you know, I was before I started to practice, I like to go to parties and dance and so on, you know, and like this, you know. And I was like, but, you know, I have still this desire, you know, to go to parties, to dance, you know, like, you know, to like, you know, enjoy, you know, in one sense. It was like, I really had like a dilemma, what should I do, you know. Still I had this desire, but still I was not completely experiencing this happiness of Krishna consciousness, like completely, you know, that I would be able to renounce it at that time. Then I was like, okay, I'll just go to the last party. It was like somewhere in the mountains, like really nice location, everything so nice, you know. I'll go to this last one party and then I'll renounce it completely, you know. And then I think like in the next weekend there was this Holy Name festival, and we had like kirtan, and there was Kanambakanan Swami Maharaj, and he had like 2 hours of kirtan. It was like, wow, like really, really powerful. Those of you who were in his kirtans, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, you know, you just go, it's like the spiritual world, you know, you get completely lost in bliss, you dance, you chant, you know, it's like, poof. And then the next day, you know, when I was reflecting about this, I was like, what is this, you know, why should I go to this party? It's like, this is nothing, you know, this is like the real thing, you know, dancing in kirtan, this is like the real thing, you know. And I, like, by the mercy of Maharaj, I got, this higher taste, I got this happiness, of Krishna consciousness. And then I was like, it was like really natural. I was like, why should I go to this? Why should I waste my time, It's like, better I'm here in the temple and serve, it's much better, I got this taste, So in this way, if we develop this happiness, which if we try to seek the nectar, then it will be much easier, to advance. It's much easier to be like attracted by Krishna and positively engaged in devotional service than just, okay, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't desire this, and so on and so on. And that we are motivated by this, that we deny our desires. Of course, also when we experience this happiness, we're denying these desires, material desires, but it's much easier, because we have spiritual desires, we have this spiritual happiness, and it's much easier then to advance. So, and also when we experience this happiness ourselves, it's natural that we want to share it with others, It's so nice, Lalit Govinda often, comes to me and, what have I read in this book? It's so nice. We have to sit down and speak about it. It's so nice. I have to share with somebody, And also, and when we go on Harinam, when we feel like Krishna, really happy in Krishna consciousness, when we go on Harinam and book distribution, it's natural, much easier to also, that's my experience, to distribute books, to chant the holy name, Because we're happy, and when we tell people, this is really nice, this is the best thing you can have. Because you're convinced, it's also much easier than to convince others. They also feel, okay, this person, he's really happy, he's really convinced, he knows what he's talking about. So being happy in Krishna consciousness, experiencing the nectar, is not only like good for ourselves, for our own practice, but also for others, that we share it with others much easily. That also others, who are non-devotees, that they can see, okay, this is the true thing, So, yeah. So we should seek the nectar every day. We have to seek it every day. In japa, in devotee association, in prasadam, every day we have to become nectar hunters. So by this I would end this class. Thank you very much for your attention. Hope something was inspirational for you. And if everyone has any questions, comments. Kar po slovensko bom jaz prevedel.
Sem razmišljala, ko si govoril v angleščini.
Bom jaz prevedel po angliško, je v redu.
Sem razmišljala, ko si govoril o tem užitku, materialnem, ali pa tem v bistvu duhovnem in materialnem ne uživam več, ker pač nisem zunaj, niti ne pogrešam. Ampak tukaj v duhovnem sem pa zdaj mogoče nekje na križišču in a veš, manjka mi ta juicy, moj juicy, vse rada služim, pojem, mantram, vse, kar se tiče božanstva, upravljam službe, ampak ta juicy mi manjka. Kje je to razpotje? Škoda, da bi mi mogel samo nekdo dati roko in hop, potem.
Yeah, so she's asking how to, okay, I'm here in the temple, I'm serving, I don't want to enjoy material anymore, and I'm like doing all the services, I like to do them, but I'm like missing this juice, this real happiness, this juice. And that I just feel that someone needs to pull me to this juice. Yeah, and actually it is like this, this juice, Krishna gives it, We're trying to endeavor and we're praying for this nectar, but at the end also Krishna gives it, we're trying to, we're desiring it, but at the end Krishna gives us, as also like, I don't know, with book distribution, when we distribute books, we're endeavoring, but we try to distribute books, but Krishna decides how many books we distribute, or who gets the books and so on, And we should be also like that. I think one important thing is also that we do activities in Krishna consciousness that like fulfill us, because as you said, we may like to surf and do we know it's service for Krishna and we like to do it, but it's not like completely something that we would really experience it like nectar, So we should seek something, all these activities that we do, we should think, okay, how should I do it better, how should I chant my japa in a better way so that I will experience Krishna's presence more, how shall I, read the books, how shall I serve in a better state of mind in order to be more receptive to this nectar so that Krishna will, respond to me, that he will reciprocate with me. And also we should ask ourselves, okay, what kind of activities do I like in Krishna consciousness, For example, me, I like to, read, books, I like to listen to classes, and I see that this, it fills me up, when I learn new things, when I, see the connections between the verses and, or some practical thing that, practical tips for my current challenges, Or maybe for someone, I don't know, for Tihomir, certainly his favorite activity is to sing and play the harmonium, He's doing it like every day. If he's not on the street, he's in studio and practicing, So this is probably for him something inspiring, something like, okay, I want to do this. This is like nectar. I want to go out and chant the holy name, And I don't know, for someone else, it may be to go on the altar, to worship the deities and so on. So we should find something which is like inspiring for us, some activity in Krishna consciousness. It may be reading books, associating with devotees, I don't know, listening about the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada, something that inspires us, something that fills us up. So we should find something which applies to us. I think it's like an individual thing. And always, like prayer always works if we pray, Please Krishna, I want to experience this happiness, this nectar, in order to come closer to you, so that I'll be able to renounce all these bad habits, material things that are driving me away from you. I want to experience the nectar of your holy name or your devotional service and so on, so that I can come closer to you. So prayer is always nice. Yeah. Are you ready? Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Something? And Nrsimha Seva Prabhu likes to watch Mahabharata. This is his nectar. Yeah, he does, Something in Krishna consciousness that inspires us and fills us up. So, yeah. Okay, if there is not anything else, thank you very much. Grantaraj srimad-bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Lila Suka Prabhu ki
Samohita Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Poleg tega, da rad bereš, pa tudi težko. Sem te videl na podajatu, ki imaš on tako. Jan je bil, čas Jan. Tudi to naravo tudi. Jaz sem isto, da sem življen plet.
Ja, ne, isto tako.
Da se ne upamo malo sprostiti tako. Sem tisti zdaj začel, sem te videla malo tako dober pa.
Ne, vse ko sem polemil, da vsi se rasti tam, pa da mora biti
Vsem, da nisem jaz pomemben.
Ja, pa za božanstvo, za zadovoljstvo božanstva.
Taste the nectar of lakci, to so pa nektar hare.
Ja, to je to.
To je to.
Ja, to sem pa zelo prav realizirala, da v bistvu, ko sem v egu, če ne bi bila, oni se prišli na Krišna. Zakaj nisem pa to res oziroma pa cvila, ali da še sami potegnila. Ne? Ja.
Mislim, da moraš reči.
Sam bi še eno muro predstavil.
Ja, če praviš, da gledam tako, pa sem mogo, pač kako je, da pomagam, da napredujemo. Samo Bog je bil moj, da reči ste razvijeni nektar, ne izkusni tam nektar, da bi išli tako na kar pomagam.
Ja.
Moram reči.
Ja, se ga tele poslušam redno, kaj vsi si poslušal, kaj
Ja,
vsi
ja.
Krišna.
Ja, to je nudno.
Ja.
Jaz smo zadovoljni, jaz tako srečni, ni drugo.
Lepo, hare Krišna. A ti pa je pa ne, sem
Ključ od. Pa ja, no, prav, ja, se zdaj še ne rabim še.
No, sad to, zdaj mi je bilo zelo pomembno, ker avto še kar nadela, no.
A ja, problem,
ja. A ga lahko kaj dam?
Lahko vzameš, ja.
Ne, sem to mislila. Tako sem kaj, a bi dal ovoga.
Ja,
Ja, Anžel. Krišna. A Krišna. Imaš ti na računalniku Mahabharata? Češ ti ne samo da podijeli, isti meni zaključiti pitao?
Pa ja imam to najde kartu.
Pa to će nama Lila Suka u sredu. I gde se onda staviš ti u kompjuter? A ja sam davnicu staviti. A 120 giga treba. Stvarno? Ne da, ali Mahabharata je dugačka, velika. To još ne mogu. Mahabharata ima sve dijelove. No, ništa nije ono. Šta to znači? Ko ti je dao onda kad nije imao? Ne, hoćeš mi dati ono što je bona fide. Lila Suka samo. Samo kad ćeš ti dati karticu. Dobro, on će samo presnimiti. A znači ne karticu, ne ključić. Koliko radi trebaš ti? 16 tisuća. Zato što smo mi dali. Nije, više trebaš. 35. Ja. Biće 60, zato ćeš dobiti još one lekcije što su isto u slovenskom jeziku. Ne u slovenskom, hrvatskom. Zato što je Marko, da, u Četanu, duše se sjećaš. On je sve prevodio. Sve. Sve je.
A to sve isto ima na to jezika? Lekcije?
Ne, to imamo javno. Ja. Hare Krišna, ćemo vedimo.
največji plus je tisti, ko čisto prav, mislim. Če sem dobro, še mislim. Ali to tudi ne bo javno? Ali je to vsega? Čisto sami je tudi jelovnica, ne? Ali sem tako? Ker sem jih pač služil duhovno telo, ja. Zmrz, piše bhakti-joga, sem najbolj studa sad. Mišljam se še tako budemo, pa šel za sami tis. Je više imate reč molivce, ne? Vse to mu počne.
Ja, ve.
A danes gleda, danes je pit tako vreme.
A ve.
A?
A ve.
Jaz ne imam, mislim, da jaz ne moram popisati. Ne vem, kako mene tam, mislim. Ni še bil objavljen, ja. Urkam sploh še objavljen. Jaz sem videl, da mi nisi, dajmo in napišemo.
Ja.
Daj, hvala za dobil, tam ga 4:38. A veš, so mi skorili te jutri, sem mi ful, koliko je minimalizem, sem mi ful reč, tako skorili, mislim. Zakaj to?
Tek sem bolj vraz videl.
A ja, zato ja videl, evo, ja. Zakaj sem, jaz sem se sprašal, zakaj so mi lepši, zakaj mi lepši, zakaj mi... Sem čuden, to sem rekel, da želite rekel.
Zato ne moram nekateri gledati. Jaz
sem to namagal, ko sem videl, koliko sem ti rekel, ker še bramovska je bila dol, ne, sem rekel. Mislim, kako se srce je bilo.
A si to slišal?
Če, zakaj viš? Prinaša se, zakaj to sem ne razumel, nisem videl, da to ti bil. Zadnja liča sem.
Ja.
Po čim je to po?
To je iz...
Kje je šans, kaj to?
Ne, to je iz...
Ljubljana.
Kak je...
Kje sem?
Nekje razlog,
ni
nekje razlog, tem ne bi bogat. Tem, ne?
Mislim, ne bi šel v tega, kdo ga prinesel?
Tirumala è qui, Tirupati postati qui. Tirupati è isto dentro, ma non è qua. Krishna.
Je pa tam najbližejši. Kako je visok? Čakaj, še čitanje tu?
Ja.
Cioè, quando c'è stato